And welcome back to Reactioncast. It's your host Jesus, aka Tyrant Dominus, here to give you another movie review. This time around, we're going to be talking about the film Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Deep in the 100-acre woods, a young boy named Christopher Robin came across some most unusual adolescent creatures. Crossbreeds, who some would describe as abominations. The creatures introduced themselves as owl, rabbit, Eeyore, piglet, and most importantly, Winnie the Pooh.
So yeah, I recently went to go see this film. It was Altitude Films distributed this one. Oh, I thought it was Blumhouse. What the heck? Okay. So I originally saw this film and I thought Blumhouse was the one who released this film, but it was not. It was actually Altitude Film Distribution. Interesting. Because yeah, so this film was written and directed by Frake-Waterfield, and it's a British independent film. It's a horror slasher kind of genre. It's supposed to be. It gives you these semblance of it. I'm not gonna lie to that. And you follow this like horrific telling of the story of Winnie the Pooh. And how do I explain this film? I was intrigued when you see the trailer of this movie. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can kind of see a few clips playing on the screen at the moment, but if you're listening to this film is without a doubt a interesting take when you have the ability to use properties that are in the public domain. There's like recently, I haven't seen them yet, but there's a few films that came out recently of Pinocchio. There's like I think 2 or 3 films that came out more recently, and now that we have this Winnie the Pooh telling of it. At first, I'll say this: the first act really has an intriguing take. I was actually pulled in. I thought to myself, okay, interesting way to describe this tale of Christopher Robin and Pooh and the gang. Okay, and then getting to introduce some newer characters. Kind of some of the group that we're going to be following in this horror film. And then it just takes a hard left turn, and boy did I and the audience I was with, we just was whoa. I'm gonna start with this. So the score for this film is actually pretty good. It gives you like traditional horror elements. It peaks where it needs to peak, and it gives you this sense of like eeriness. So yeah, it works really well there. Now what doesn't work well is a lot of the dialogue, a lot of the scenes, and God, because the characters you see mostly as far as the Pooh and the gang are Pooh and Piglet, like you see in the trailer, and boy do they look scary as fuck. You know, you would not want to see those guys out in the wood. Like if you're out in the middle of the woods and you see them, you would run. I'm not joking. They're creepy. But the thing is this film has a lot of like corny, cheesy, and it's there's points where it's like bad good. But then there's so many times where it's just bad, and I'm like, I kind of want to like. There's so much to this film. When I talked about it, I got home, and I wanted to talk about it. I really wanted to write my review immediately after, but I just needed to sleep on it because I was like it wasn't that bad, but was it any good really? Because this film, the plot is basically. To kind of do a simplification, because you kind of have like this is the intro. I'll talk a little bit of the intro. It's like, you get your traditional telling of Christopher Robin and the gang. You have Christopher Robin growing up with Pooh, Piglet, Owl, Rabbit, and Eeyore. And as time goes on, Christopher Robin starts, bringing them snacks, playing with them. And he does this for years. And he literally grows up with them to the point where he has to leave them because he's going to college. So he grew up with them. And that's basically that winter when he left apparently was really horrible because they went crazy because they had to they were starving and they had to eat Eeyore. Like, spoiler there, they ate Eeyore. And because of that horrific moment, they took a vow of silence and hated humanity, apparently. And they hated Christopher Robin for sure. And that's kind of where you get the introduction of, the return of Christopher Robin with his now fiance or wife. I don't remember, and it doesn't really matter at this point. And Christopher Robin's trying to explain to his future wife or wife, whatever. I used to play with them here in the 100-acre woods and everything. And it's like his wife's supporting him a little bit, but are you sure? Maybe you were just a child and stuff like that. People have imaginary friends and things. And then you get these horror moments. There's some cheesy moments, but at this point I was like, okay, I'm fine with some cheesy. I'm okay. And then you just get these weird moments where they finally capture Christopher Robin, and then transitions into the film. Where this is where we get introduced to the new kind of protagonist or main character we're gonna be following, and her group and stuff. And at this point, I don't even remember the name of the girl we're following. What's her name? I'm gonna just do a quick check here. Maria, I think that's her name. Maria. Yeah, I think her name was Maria. At this point, it doesn't really matter. So you get this introduction of this character of Maria, who's having dealing with this she had this stalker problem, and I'm like, okay, so they're introducing this character who had a horrible incident with a stalker, and it got really bad. They have some scenes where where she's explaining what happened, and it's like, this is where it gets really good and creepy. I'm like, okay, so we're gonna be dealing with a woman who has had this horrible moment with the stalker, and then we have Winnie the Pooh and gang basically stalking them. So I want to see how they're gonna do this. But they barely do anything with that. They do barely anything with any of the characters. They introduce a bunch of these other characters, a lot of generic tropey characters, which were normally I'm as long as they have some interesting development or character choice, they just at this point you just have you had generic sexy girl, annoying sexy girl. You had kind of generic lesbian couple with relationship problems joining and then you had generic best friend helping friend. And I'm like, okay, maybe you'll get something out of them, but that's all their archetype is. They get no development, so they're just there to be there. And I'm like, okay, whatever, because most of the scenes of murder are intense. There's so many wonderfully interesting, intense scenes, but they're so ridiculous to get to those moments. They're just why are you even in this situation? There's so many scenes where it's just what the fuck? It's that moment when you're screaming at the screen, run. And I think there was so many times in our cinema, there was a couple sitting next to me, and she's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, yeah, except there's very few times where I do physical movements to the screen where I'm waving my hands to the front, what the heck are you doing? I think this film, I will not lie, I think I had the most physical movement in the cinema I've ever had it in a film, because I was just so, I think this is the first time I even like verbally said something out loud because of a specific scene. Like I literally verbally, like audibly said, "What the heck?" like out loud. And I'm like, it's like, and I'm pretty respectful. I kind of have these tenets when I'm in a cinema. I'm pretty quiet. I laugh when I need to laugh. Like when I laugh when I laugh, but I have a respectful theater laugh, I would think. But I'm pretty, like, I don't really talk in films, like very little, and this film made me audibly like oh my god, because it's just, this film, I thought I was just gonna have this weird, like goofy, like Winnie the Pooh horror adaptation. I kind of got it. It had moments and stuff, and it's just, oh my god, it's just not. It's a movie where I kind of, there were moments where I'm like, okay, I'm following. Oh yeah, you lost me. You're losing me. You're getting me back? No, you lost me. I'm gone. I genuinely, like, I was like, damn, I should have bought an extra beer for this film. I was downing my first one. I was thinking, maybe I should get another one really quick, but I'm like, too late. I'm just stuck here. I was like, and I'm in the middle of the cinema. I'm like, I'm not gonna ruin the rest of the the rest of the experience for the rest of the cinema goers. Oh my god, there's so much I want to say. I literally explained the film plot to my brother and my brother-in-law, and they were baffled. I think I told the entire film just because it's so vividly, like, annoying in my head. When I left, my sister hated the film. I didn't hate it. I found a lot of issues with it, but I didn't hate it. Her fiance loved the film. It's one of those things where I'm trying to rate it and think about it, because there are films where they're so bad that they're good, right? But then there's some films that are so bad that they're just bad, they're just. And I was thinking about it. I think this is why I was spending a good amount of time really reflecting on this film. I don't know why it took me forever to do like hard thing for Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, right? It's maybe just because of how it ended and kind of that. It's okay if you're made it this far. Spoiler: there's a second Winnie the Pooh coming out later. Like, yeah, this is a future franchise. So. So what I'm kind of debating here, because god, even the acting in the beginning was actually not too bad, but it just got really, it lost so much towards the end, and there were so many characters that were introduced in the beginning that just were there for their sake, or they were there and just it didn't make them weird. Yeah, some of the characters in the beginning, like, you introduce them and they're gone. Like, oh, we'll never see you again. Not like they're dead or anything. Just they introduce them and then they're like, oh, that's it. And maybe they'll be important in the second film, but I don't know. So okay, I'm rambling right now. This film is like giving me also a second headache as I'm like pondering this thing. So what I'm gonna give Winnie Pooh, Blood and Honey, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. A 4 out of 10. If you have a beer or two, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. But it's a 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10. For sure, if you just want something dumb, you want to have a drinking game with, you can have it with this film for sure. But man, for sure, I wish it could have been like a little bit better, because the depictions of Winnie the Pooh and Piglet were like horrific. Like I was like looking forward to it, and some of the murder scenes were like really like, okay, this is crazy, but okay. But some of the sequences to get to some of these murder scenes or just like action sequences, you're just so stupid, man. Oh god. Yeah, that's kind of those. Yeah, 4 out of 10. Have a few drinks, 5 out of 10. Those are my thoughts. So yeah, let me know if you're thinking of watching this film, or are you waiting for it to come on streaming servers, or like, are you like, okay, I'm good, I'm not gonna watch this one. And yeah, God, yeah. Yeah, let me know down in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube, if you're listening to this on podcasting platforms. If you're on Spotify or Anchor, you can leave a comment down below. So yeah, thanks again for listening or watching. Until next time, see ya.